Well, now let's get to chapter 14 of our Thanksgiving storybook. And in this chapter we will learn about the 19th century and how Thanksgiving became a national holiday. This is part 2. You can find part 1 down in the description, along with links to all of our other videos, so make sure to check them out after this one. But for now, let's go back to 1800s America. In the early days of the United States, each state had its own day of Thanksgiving, and they were often very different from each other. In some states, it was called Harvest Thanksgiving Day and celebrated the successful gathering of crops. Other states called it a Day of Thanksgiving and Prayer, or a Day of Thanksgiving and Praise. Some states chose a specific day in the fall, while others, like Massachusetts, celebrated it on the last Thursday in November. Since everyone had their own personal Thanksgiving celebration, there was no official federal holiday. Now, if you're re-asking yourself why we changed from celebrating Thanksgiving every year on a different day to always celebrating it on the same day every year, then you are going to love this story. See, during this time period, one woman was on a mission to make Thanksgiving a national holiday. Her name was Sarah Josepha Hale, and she was a magazine writer and editor. Now, she had a big dream of unifying the country through the celebration of a common holiday. She envisioned families across the nation coming together each year in the fall to share a large feast and giving thanks for their many blessings. To achieve her goal, she began writing letters to Congress every single year, pleading for a national Thanksgiving Day. She wrote to governors, senators, and presidents. For years, though Congress refused to set aside one specific day for people to celebrate Thanksgiving, they feared that establishing a national Thanksgiving Day would cause people to abandon their religious freedom, because the government was mandating one specific holiday. But Sarah did not give up. Finally, in 1850, after writing letter after letter for more than 30 years, her efforts paid off. President Millard Fillmore signed a law making the last Thursday in November a national holiday to be celebrated each and every year. At last, Thanksgiving was becoming a national holiday. But then the Civil War broke out, and it seemed like all hope of having a national holiday was lost again. The country was divided and no one could agree on anything. And so for several years during the Civil War, celebrations of Thanksgiving were put on hold. People did celebrate informally in some places, but Thanksgiving just wasn't the same without the entire country participating. Then came the year 1863. That year, President Abraham Lincoln announced that the last Thursday in November would be a national Thanksgiving Day. He proclaimed that the people of the United States should set aside that day to give thanks to Almighty God for the blessings of the year. And for the first time, the country came together to celebrate Thanksgiving as one. Following Lincoln's proclamation, each president after him continued to proclaim Thanksgiving as a national holiday. During the Great Depression in the 1930s, people really didn't feel very thankful. Times were hard, and the economy was in sharp decline. Many families struggled to afford a traditional Thanksgiving meal, which consisted of things like turkey, stuffing, and cranberry sauce. So President Franklin D. Roosevelt moved Thanksgiving to the second-to-last Thursday in November. He wanted to give people an extra week to earn more money, so they could have a better Thanksgiving celebration. This change did help boost the economy a little bit, but people were still struggling. Also, many people thought that moving the date of Thanksgiving was a bad idea. For example, the head of the National Retail Dry Goods Association said that it was a very serious matter and that merchants everywhere would suffer if the date of Thanksgiving was changed. However, this change made Thanksgiving last longer, and many families enjoyed this extra holiday. So even though there were some complaints, most people agreed that having an extra day to celebrate Thanksgiving was a good thing. Finally, in 1941, Congress passed a law officially changing the date of Thanksgiving to the fourth Thursday in November. This way, the date of Thanksgiving would always be the same every single year. As the years went by, Thanksgiving grew into one of the biggest holidays of the year. But many people began to forget what Thanksgiving was really about. Stores started putting up Christmas displays right after Halloween. Football games and parades took center stage on Thanksgiving Day, and many people stopped taking time to give thanks for their blessings. Now, don't get me wrong, parades and football are great, but let's make sure that we remember the true meaning of Thanksgiving. After all, it is a time to show gratitude for all of the good things in our lives. It's a time to reflect on everything we have to be thankful for, and to remember those who have less, and show kindness and generosity. As author W.J. Cameron once wrote, Thanksgiving is a time to draw close the circle of family and friends. It is a time to give thanks to God for the gift of loved ones and to cherish their presence in our lives. So when you think about Thanksgiving, remember that it is much more than just a day off school and work. It's a time to come together with those you love and to remember all the blessings that you have been given throughout the year. So, to wrap things up here, the Thanksgiving celebration has come a long way since the Pilgrims and Native Americans shared a meal in 1621. What began as a small harvest festival has evolved into a major national holiday celebrated by millions of people around the world. From the Mayflower to President Abraham Lincoln and beyond, the history of Thanksgiving is filled with stories of gratitude, perseverance, and unity. And while Thanksgiving traditions may change over time, the spirit of the holiday remains the same, a time to give thanks for all the blessings in our lives. No matter how you choose to celebrate Thanksgiving, whether it's with a traditional feast, volunteering at a local food bank, or simply taking time to reflect on all you have to be grateful for, I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Speaking of wonderful, all right, let's play a quick game. I'm gonna leave for questions about what we learned in this video down in the description, and if you answer all 4 correctly, you will win this very special prize. Boom. Okay, now, it's time for your assignment. Over in the Storybook app, you can read all about the Wampanoag tribe and learn how they lived in the New World. To get started, click the link down in the description, or scan this very handy-dandy QR code. If you want to keep watching, click the video on screen now to continue on in the series, or click the video over here to watch another one of my favorite videos. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.